Everyone thinks Sage is getting reworked, but after finishing Riot's brand new Sage quest, I think the entire community is looking at this story completely wrong. Because hidden inside this quest are bioscans showing crystals spreading through Sage's body, while it's about Omega Viper, records from Sage's old monastery, a mysterious resonance bath that could potentially heal her condition, and what might actually be our first look at Valorant's next map. The more I explore this quest, the more I realize this isn't a story about a Sage rework, it's a story about Sage herself. And honestly, I think Riot is setting up one of the biggest lore chapters we have ever seen. Before we even talk about Sage's condition, there is something that immediately caught my attention. While exploring the quest, we get a look at a massive monastery courtyard with a huge academy building overlooking everything. The layout is symmetrical, there is a large open area in the middle, a central platform and multiple pathways leading outward. Now Riot hasn't confirmed anything, but honestly, this doesn't feel like a random lore location. It honestly looks more like part of a playable map than a simple lore area. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being one of the spawn areas on the upcoming map, which is interesting because this monastery isn't just becoming important to the map, it's becoming important to Sage's entire story. And that brings us to the reason everyone suddenly thinks Sage is getting reworked. A few days ago, Valorant posted a teaser saying the pain has become unbearable. Immediately the community lost its mind. Then one of the Valorant leakers tweeted it saying, "I'm really curious how they are going to heal Sage without bringing a rework to her." That tweet exploded and suddenly everyone started saying the same thing. Sage rework confirmed, she's losing resurrection, her abilities are changing, and honestly some of the theories got pretty wild. People started saying Sage would completely transform into crystal, others believed Riot was secretly hiding a rework so they could surprise everyone later. But the problem, Riot developers have already stated that Sage is not getting a gameplay rework and multiple trusted community sources have backed that up. So if she is not getting reworked, then what exactly is happening? Well, that's where the quest starts giving us answers. One of the first files we discover shows Sage standing beside Zui. Attached to it as a message saying, "Look how much we have grown. I miss those days at the old monastery." That line is incredibly important because it confirms the monastery we have been seeing isn't some random location Riot created for a teaser. It's a place deeply connected to Sage's past and the origins of her powers, and that's when something clicked for me. What if Riot isn't showing us the monastery because Sage is losing her powers? What if they are showing us the monastery because she is returning to where those powers came from? Because the deeper you go into the quest, the more that theory starts making sense. Then we get to what might be the biggest clue in the entire quest, the resonance bath. According to the academy record, the resonance bath amplifies a person's attunement with the surrounding mountains. Attached to the file is a note saying, "I'll be spending a lot of time in this chair, wish me luck." And honestly, that doesn't sound like normal training. It sounds like somebody trying to stabilize their connection to radiant energy. And when you remember everything that's been happening to Sage recently, this becomes really interesting. What if the resonance bath isn't just part of academy training? What if it's the exact thing Sage needs to survive? Then we find the bioscan results, and this might be the strongest piece of evidence Riot has shown us so far. The scan clearly shows crystal growth spreading throughout Sage's body, making it obvious that her condition is getting worse. This feels less like a gameplay teaser and more like a warning about Sage's condition. Riot wants us to focus on Sage's health, not her abilities. Because this story doesn't feel like it's about balancing an agent, it feels like it's about saving one. Then we get to the clue that completely changed how I looked at this storyline, Omega Viper. One of the files inside the quest is dedicated entirely to her, and attached to it is a note saying, "More training, more sessions, Omega Viper could be her any day. I need to be ready." What's interesting is that Sage isn't talking about escaping or hiding. She is training and preparing, which suggests she knows something bigger is coming. And that's where my theory begins. Because everyone keeps talking about Viper's voice line, we put her down. The moment players heard it, most immediately assumed Sage was in serious danger. But what if that's not what's happening? What if Omega Viper doesn't want Sage dead? What if she wants Sage alive? Think about it. Sage is arguably one of the most valuable radiants in existence. She can heal, restore, and literally bring people back from death. Why would Omega Viper want to destroy someone like that when she could potentially use her? And when you connect all these clues together, the monastery, the academy, the crystal infection, the resonance bath, and Omega Viper, it starts to feel like Riot is building toward one thing. It feels like the academy may be the key to saving Sage. Because after exploring the quest, it's obvious this isn't just a monastery, it's practically a radiant research facility, which makes it the perfect place for a cure. And maybe that's exactly where Riot is taking this story. Instead, the entire storyline seems focused on finding a way to save Sage. Because when I look at the everything Riot has shown us, I don't see the setup for a gameplay update. I see the setup for Sage's biggest lore chapter ever. A story about returning to her roots, confronting the damage caused by years of healing others, uncovering Omega Viper's true plan, and ultimately finding a cure cure before it's too late. So no, I don't think Sage is getting a gameplay rework. I think Riot is telling the story of how Sage survives. But that's just my theory. Let me know yours in the comments. Do you think the resonance bath is actually a cure? Do you think Omega Viper is trying to save Sage or use her? And do you think that Academy Courtyard is actually part of the upcoming map? Let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.